emotions are running high. People are more aware of their mortality, of life itself and of changes.
There's a lot of emotional complications with coming back here.
There is that feeling throughout series 2, I think, of people wanting to seize the moment.
There is this emotional, I guess, pace this year.
The war had just thrown everything up in the air, and all those preconceived ideas about what was right and what was steady was thrown to the wind.
The truth is, I'll stay in Downton until you want to run away with me.
Don't be ridiculous.
You're too scared to admit it.
With the war being there is heightened emotion every day.
Sometimes it feels as if all the men I ever danced with are dead.
And I think in times of change, people cling to what they know, and for instance, love and the understanding of someone and having a connection is something that spans all of that. The connection she has with Branson is beautiful. In the first series, I never saw it sort of being romantic or anything like that. I never read it as that. She just was so happy for there to be someone she could talk to and understood her. It'd be hard to let you go. My last link with home.
Not as hard as it is for me.
Branson.
I know I shouldn't say it, but I can't keep it in any longer.
Sybil really doesn't know what to do because she knows how wrong this union would be. Those constraints are still there for the young girls, that you can't just marry anyone.
You see, sometimes in war one can make friendships that aren't quite appropriate and can be awkward, later on.
I'm sure plenty of people were attracted to each other across the barriers, but I think Sybil is essentially a rebel, and I think one of her ways of expressing her rebellion is Branson. I think it isn't only that she finds him attractive or is in love with him, it suits her to have a statement of rebellion in her life choice.
Appropriate for whom?
Well, don't jump down my throat, dear. I'm only offering friendly advice.
Very often, a man or a woman falls in love with somebody who their parents doesn't particularly approve of, or they think they're not the right kind of person, or whatever it was. Well, transfer that immediately back to the First World War. Multiply it because of the nature of social differences and gradings that everybody had, and it becomes much clearer why it's so extraordinary and so dangerous for Sybil to be going out with the chauffeur.
I'm in a uniform.
Wrong kind.
We don't care about stuff like that in the same way now. But then, this was a massive danger for her, because if she did marry the chauffeur, and who knows, maybe she will, then that would put her out of society, because there's no way Branson would be allowed or accepted in the great houses.
He's a person. He can discuss other things.
I'm sure he can, but not with you.
What do you want from me? Am I to see if Sir Richard Carlyle has a younger brother, one who's even richer than he is?
Darling, what's the matter with you? I'm on your side.
Then be on my side. Their relationship's really interesting because he tells her everything, how he feels about her, really. And then he understands it, then that freaks her out. At a point, I think, when Sybil's leaving home, she's going to be living away for 2 months, just sort of thinking, you're doing this now? You've had 2 years.
They'll come around. And until they do, I promise to devote every waking minute to your happiness.
The war changes so much of how people view the aristocracy, and so everything is there to play for then. So he just keeps trying to push her to kind of see, to come around to his way of thinking. Obviously, if you've seen Jess Brown Finlay, it's not hard to play opposite her, in fairness, Looking like you want to kiss her is kind of like, well, yeah, Grant, well, it's not hard, it's you.
I thought you'd be angry.
Because that's the first time you've ever spoken about us.
So much gets in the way, like with Matthew and Mary. They're constantly being pulled apart.
Matthew's engaged. He's brought her to Downton to meet his mother. Well, how marvellous.
It's wonderfully written, and how those two love affairs, I guess, kind of intertwine in the story.
Are you all right, milady?
Oh, Anna.
The difficulty I think Mary has, because she's obviously wound up about Matthew. She doesn't know where she is. She's got the pressures of her family wanting her to get married. She doesn't know who to get married to. She doesn't know how to deal with Matthew. Of course, she's got this deep down love for him. And yet she knows that at any time, that telegram that she hears about through her friends is coming to so many different families could come back about Matthew. And she feels an intensity about what she's in danger of losing.
Mary, if I don't come back, no, if I don't, then do remember how very glad I am that we made up when we had the chance. I mean it. You send me off to war a happy man.
Mary is very headstrong and unable to accept that she can't have her own way. But of course, coupled to that is she cannot be pitied. She can never be in a position where anyone feels sorry for her. So it is impossible for her to show Matthew the extent of her continuing love for him, because that would, for herself, make her feel weak.
We hope you're still coming for dinner tonight.
Certainly we are. Why wouldn't we?
Sure? It'll be your last evening.
Why? Don't you want me?
Of course I want you. Very much.
I'm sorry you've had a wasted journey.
Not at all. I needed an excuse for a walk. You know, the idea that he could actually be killed in battle is devastating. The thought of that for Mary, I think, is the love of her life.
Matthew's changed quite a lot. I think he's sort of hardened a bit. Yeah, that might have something to do with Lady Mary. But he's also, in the meantime, met his fiancée, Lavinia. We can assume he's only met her a few times, really, but things get quite intensified in war, and he's looking for a nice girl to marry who's not too encumbered by all the trappings of all this, you know. And I think he wants what he would consider quite a normal life.
I've found someone now, and I want you to do the same.
Lavinia wears her heart on her sleeve. You know, she loves Matthew and she's not afraid to show it. And there's nothing stopping that love. You know, it's really straightforward, open and honest.
If he died, I don't think I could go on living.
Lavinia clocks how close Mary and Matthew are. And whilst she's may not be completely comfortable with that, technically they're rivals over Matthew. But on the other, they're kindred spirits in many ways. And the way they both feel about Matthew actually seems to bring them closer. I think Mary respects that and kind of wishes she could hate Lavinia, but can't.
Mary, I think, justifiably recognizes in herself that if she is not to have Matthew, who is the man she is in love with, then the quality that Matthew has that she must have is an outsider. She is not going to be happy with nice Lord Tiddlypush just, you know, opening the fate. That isn't who she is. She wants power, and what Carlisle can give her is that social muscle.
He's nice, isn't he? It's convenient, and they would work well together as man and wife. And actually, he has all of these advantages and traits that Mary actually, I think in series 1, would have looked for in a man. He's extremely rich, he's really good looking, he's a society man, he knows everyone. I think if he'd have turned up in episode 1 of series 1, the show would be, that would be it.
Are you shocked by my bold and modern values?
Oh, Sir Richard, you flatter yourself.
He's a powerful man. I think he's a, charismatic, wealthy man. And I think he also sort of allows her to be herself.
He lives in a tough world.
And will you be joining him there?
Richard Carlisle is powerful. He's rich and getting richer. He wants to buy a proper house, with an estate. He says after the war, the market will be flooded and we can take our pick.
Oh. And you can dance on the grave of a fallen family.
He's new money. He's not inherited wealth, So Carlisle is definitely an outsider who they're suspicious of.
Mary tells me you're in newspapers.
Well, I own a few.
And they're both strong-minded and independent, so yeah, I think in some ways they're quite suited, and they've both got a kind of quite a cold, calculating side to them as well.
I think we do well together. We could be a good team.
Now that sounds better.
The combination of them, she is an earl's daughter, he is rich and powerful and frightening. Those two together could do anything they want.
William, I don't believe it.
Pinch me. I am your dream come true.
Potential romance is there. People like Mrs. Patmore and her superiors say, just go along with it because he's going to war. And I say to her a lot that it's the thought of her that gets me through it. And so they say to her, if you break his heart now, he'll never come back. Just go along with it to get him through the war, and when he comes back, then you can finish it.
We'll have none of that. Why won't you let a Tommy kiss his sweetheart, Mrs. Patmore, when he's off to fight the Hun?
Put her down.
They are really good friends as well. So him going as her friend is really traumatic. Never mind him going as her accidental boyfriend. I think she feels duty-bound to say yes to him when he proposes. But she kind of knows she shouldn't, and then Mrs. Patmore says you've got to, because you can't let him go off to war, like, without that hope.
William's got more to say than a parliamentary candidate. What's the matter?
I know it's my fault, but I wish I hadn't let him think that we're like sweethearts.
She's very much looking after William and wanting to protect him and make him feel as good as he can when he goes off to war and all the rest of it. She ends up pushing Daisy quite hard, but I think at the back of her mind, I think she thinks there is a potential relationship there.
I'd do anything to cheer you up.
Like what?
Like this?
All the relationships have this kind of extra intensity about them because there's, because there's all these extra burdens on their shoulders. It's a big period of change as well. So with Anna and Bates, their difficulties are more to do with his past, really.
Why are you sure she'll do it now when she's refused for so long?
Mother left me some money. Much more than I thought. Vera is a greedy woman. She won't refuse what I can offer her.
The stakes are raised massively, not only because it's wartime, but also because it seems that events are constantly conspiring against them to be together. So it's a real battle.
So you're Anna?
I am.
On the one hand, they're given this extraordinary opportunity. He inherits the house and this money, but then he has to use all this material stuff to basically dissolve his marriage.
Sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
Bates's ex puts in an appearance. There's a nasty piece of work, if ever I saw one.
You see, if you don't come back to me, I'm going to the newspapers with a cracking story, and I'd like to bet the Granthams won't survive it.
Oh? They love each other. They just really, really love each other. So those moments of happiness that they do have in the second series, and they do, we really savour them, we treasure them, and invest a lot into them because there's a lot of struggle with the couple. But yeah, it was a big, big taboo to be a divorcee.
Thought it was you.
Hello?
Both very proud people as well. So I think their relationship has just developed from sharing those qualities and becoming closer and closer through that. So I think that's why it makes it such a sweet relationship, really, that it's those real kind of, the really important things that have attracted the two of them together.
Except for you to go away again.
No, that's done. You're stuck with me now.